When we're taking a look at 3D shapes, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to call it the surface area. So I'm going to use this term right here, surface area, when we talk about 3D shapes. Okay, so area will be 2D and surface area will be 3D. It's, again, just a mental note of something that we need to take a look at. The first two that I'm going to look at are some of our most basic prisms that we have. This is a rectangular prism. Some of you have seen this in the past, and we're going to give it 3 different measurements. We're going to call this the length. This one over here is going to be the height. And down here we have the width, length, width, and height. Okay. So we have these 3 measurements. Now every single rectangular prism will have 3 measurements. Okay. The order of those doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which one you call the length, width, and height, as long as you recognize that there's 3 unique measurements in a rectangular prism. Now to find the surface area, we need to find every single side of this rectangular prism. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to label them. I'm just going to draw this on there really quickly here. I'm going to call this side 1, this one side 2, and this one side 3. Okay. Now, what we know with a rectangular prism is that side 3 is repeated on this side over here. Side 1 is on the bottom, and side 2 is on the back. So we have 2 of each. Okay, so we have 2 of each side. How we're going to solve for the area of this rectangular prism, or the surface area, and I'm going to use surface area as, so SA is for surface area. I'm going to find side 1 first. Side 1 is length times width. Okay, length times width. So length times width. Now I know that there are 2 of them, so I'm just going to multiply it by 2 right away. Okay, 2 times length times width. Then I'm going to find side 2, which is length and height. So again, there's 2 of them, length times height. And then the last side is 3, and so that is the height and the width. I know again there's 2 of them, 1 on each side. So I'm going to add 2 times height times width. Okay. Now again, the order that you put these letters into doesn't really matter, as long as we have length and width together, length and height together, and height and width together. And that's going to be our area formula for a rectangular prism. Now later on we'll get to some that we don't know one side. Well, if we're missing the bottom, then you only need to do 1 of these instead of 2. Okay, so that's important that we understand and recognize that. A cylinder, on the other hand, again has a couple of different measurements, and we'll put them in there really quick. We have a radius on our cylinder, and so let's write in r equals radius. Okay, now again, if you find the diameter, we just need to divide it by 2 to come up with our radius. Most of you have seen that in the past. And then we have our height, which we could also think of as the length. I'm going to call it the height in this case here. And you'll see on here that we use height as well for a cylinder. All right, so we're going to call it height. We can also think of it as length. If the cylinder is tipped on its side, it's the length. They're the same thing. We need to recognize that. So the area of a cylinder, let's put this into a different color here. Let's do red. And again, because it's 3D, we're going to talk about surface area. All right, so surface area, we're going to find the top of the cylinder first, and the top and the bottom are the same. So we're going to multiply by 2. A circle, which is the top, is pi times radius squared. So we're going to do pi times radius squared, and we're going to multiply that by 2. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to find the lateral area. And I'm just going to put this in here as well. This is also what we call the lateral area. We'll talk more about lateral area in the next lesson as well. Okay. We want to find the lateral area. The lateral area is one large rectangle. Okay. Think about if you were to have like a roll of toilet paper. When you unroll it to see the side, it's just a rectangle. That rectangle has a distance around of the circumference and a height of the height. Okay. So length is the circumference and height is our height, or the width is our height. So to find the area, we need to do, first of all, we need to do our circumference, 2 times pi times r, and then we're going to multiply that by the height. So to find the surface area of a cylinder, we do 2 times pi times r squared, and then we add 2 times pi times rh. Now, the 2 pi r squared is our top and bottom, so if we don't need that, we don't need to include it. This is our lateral area, so that is just the outside piece, or the lateral area. Now, other shapes don't have regular formulas, but can be found by finding all the sides individually and then adding them together. Like here, we find all the sides individually. Unless we have like a prism, then we can find it using the area of the perimeter and the base. Okay, the formula that we're going to use for that one there. So we can use this one right here. We can do surface area is equal to 2 times the base area. So you're going to do this a little bit here. Base area plus the base perimeter times the length. Okay, so surface area is 2 times the base area plus the base perimeter times length. So in this case right here, we have a triangular prism which has the base of a triangle. That triangle is a 3x4 triangle. So what we're going to do is to find the area of this shape here. I'm not going to label it at all. I'm just going to kind of go I should maybe label some of it. This is going to be the length of our rectangular prism. This is going to be our base. This is going to be, sorry, triangular prism. This is going to be our height. So to find the area of this triangular prism, we do surface area is equal to 2 times the base area. Now the base area is base times height divided by 2. Okay, so what we are doing is we're finding the area of that triangle and we're multiplying it by 2. Then we're adding the perimeter, and the perimeter is going to be 3 plus 4 plus 5. Okay, that's the perimeter of our triangle. And then we're going to multiply that by 11. And I should maybe put that in here. This is 4 times 3. There we go. Okay, so base times height divided by 2. And then we do our perimeter, which is the distance around our triangle. And again, that triangle is the important part there. And then we multiply it by 11. So if we do this, see if I can quickly get down here. It's going to be 2 times 4 times 3 divided by 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 is 12 times 11. And so we're going to get a surface area of 144 centimeters square. We want to make sure we keep that unit there, and it's area, so it's always squared. So we can also use this equation right here. I give this to you on your formula page. It's on the back side. It's with the triangular prism, but I just call it a regular prism. So it's the base perimeter times the length, okay, plus 2 times the base area. You can flip those around as well, okay? And that's how we find the area of any single prism. Or we can just find the area of each side. So find this top, the bottom, and this back side, and then find the 2 triangles and add it all together, and you're going to get the exact same answer. All right, questions 3 to 6 on your assignment. They deal with 3D prisms or 3D shapes. Some are contextual problems. If you're given a contextual problem, make sure you answer with a contextual answer.